All right, guys, it is time for another podcast episode. And Kevin, what is the news for today?
Your boy, you got a new hat, a brand new hat. I didn't get to bring it. I forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to bring it.
Well, guys, I think the news for today is you should like and subscribe to the video. Before we get started, we're going to go into a topic. What is the topic for today, Kevin?
Hey man, we had to go to it eventually. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this, man. We gotta talk about it.
What?
We gotta talk about. All right, dramatic music, dramatic effect, and then crazy zoom in. The red pill. Dun dun dun.
The red pill. What's the red pill, Kevin?
Don't worry. I looked it up. Guys. The red pill is a philosophy centered on self-awareness, accountability. That's a new thing for most people. And questioning social assumptions to improve the personal outcomes.
Crazy. And why are we going over the red pill?
All right, guys. So, my take, at least, I speak for myself. I got to speak for myself. I agree with 95% of everything they speak, but I have that little 5%. I have contingencies with 5% of the red pill.
Stop the cap.
And then, you know, I can't speak for J. Rose, but I'm assuming he has also 5% he doesn't agree with either.
So I'll say it like this. I agree with 75 to 80%. I have some contentions where it comes to like, well, first of all, there's some big contentions when it comes to doing too much. And then two, the contentions also come from like whoever's speaking about it.
Yeah, guys.
It also depends on like the personal opinions of the person saying the certain thing. There's certain craziness that's going on. There's people who just say wild stuff about women. And there's people who say wild stuff about the men watching and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily agree with like people being so definitive on other people that they don't know. Especially when it comes to like, for instance, our last episode where we reacted to this girl. I don't necessarily know the girl, or, you know, like, you don't necessarily know the people you're talking about, so you can't just have such definitive opinions on people you don't know.
Yeah, guys. And stop basing your opinion off of clips, guys.
Yeah, that too.
Watch the whole video. That'll probably give you a better thing.
Watch long form content, like our videos.
Yeah, like our video, guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Kevin, what's your first contention?
All right, guys. My first contention with the red pill is going to be, I wrote it down, guys, just so I wouldn't forget. You may have to censor this. I don't know. I don't like red pill masturbators. Now, yeah, that's the actual term. But just for the video, just for, you know, monetization's sake, I don't like the red pill M's. I don't like those guys, because the problem with those guys is they want all the privileges without the responsibilities. And
what does that mean, Kevin?
Like, for example, let's say you want a 10 out of 10 woman, but you stay at home in the basement playing Modern Warfare while eating Cheetos all day.
Hey,
but you're demanding it.
Hey, bro, I see the 10 out of 10 women, and I ain't gonna lie, you gonna have to have some value.
That's my point.
It's situation. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
They just like saying things about other people, but they're not doing the other half, which is finances, looks, fitness, being competent. Is essentially, they just want all the benefits without doing any of the actual work, and they just kind of ruin it for other people, because not everyone's like that.
You know, the crazy part is though, like, although people talk about like age differences or like money differences, normally people just end up anyway with the person that's like on their level, I guess.
Yeah, guys.
So like
6, 7. Yeah.
All right, but no, like, no, seriously though, like, for instance, most people end up with somebody like their exact same age. Most people end up with somebody, you know, with similar monetary value to them, like, for when it comes to like education level, they end up with something like very similar, although they probably aim higher or lower or whatever than themselves. They end up with something very similar to who they are eventually.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, I kind of, I'll be honest, I hate those people. I'm just like, bro, there's people who actually are trying to do better and probably follow the guides to an extent, but people like you just ruin it because you make us look bad to the whole world. When I'm like, not everyone's like that, because I don't know where they get the idea where it's like, hey, bro, don't do any work, bro. Just hate them. Just hate the other side. I'm like, no.
Well, hey, man,
not at
I keep
all.
bringing up the psychology of money and, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. They always tell you like, hey, bro, you can't, if you're trying to be a millionaire, obviously everybody can't be a millionaire, and especially when it comes to like supply and demand, everybody can't be a millionaire because otherwise it won't mean anything.
But we will.
But
100%.
When it comes to that, the thing isn't, I think people aren't necessarily telling you that you're going to always be the number one guy, but they're saying like, even if you're not the number one guy, you can learn something from the lessons that they're trying to teach you. So like, hey, you can go from making $50K a year to $80K a year at the very least, or $80K to $100K, if you keep working at it, instead of wasting your whole time in your 20s trying to worry about things that don't matter. You can go from going from that $26,000 at McDonald's to getting a job as a telemarketer at this big company. So, I don't necessarily disagree with the whole mindset that you should try and improve yourself, or necessarily agree with that sometimes that you need rest, but that try and find the most effective times for those things in your life. Create systems for yourself that generate the most value out of the person that's doing these things. So I don't think you should hate on people who are at the top, hate on people who are trying to improve themselves, or hate on people don't be envious of people. Like don't use that enviousness as a way to tear a person down that is built the way they. Don't be throwing stuff at people. Don't be trying to like dissent at people who are trying to be better for themselves, because you don't know where they come from and what they're trying to do, but they're trying to build something for the person that they're trying to be later on. So go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, to my number 2 now?
I'll go to my number 1.
Oh, okay.
I think my biggest contention is, I think one of my first contentions, I guess, is talking when it comes to like religious spaces. So I would say like, for instance, when it comes to talking about girls, money, value, I think the issue is you lose the meaning behind those things as you start to delve deeper into the affluent knowledge that these types of situations put you into. Like for instance, if you're going to the red pill spaces, it often loses the meaning behind what you're trying to do. So like for instance, you got people speaking about, just have sex with women all day, or like you have people saying like, just reconstructure your face, or or get the surgery to break your leg and make your leg longer. Kevin, you agree with that?
Hey man, I'm good. I want to be able to run when I'm 60 at least, or try.
Or I guess on the other side would be like, for girls it'd be like, do plastic surgery, or like get all the hair transplants and all that stuff, and do all this crazy stuff just to make your stuff look better, or any sort of thing that kind of is an unnatural, you're not working with what you have. You're trying to like manufacture things in like a man-made way. You're not going to the gym. You're just like you're trying to get surgeries to like suction up your body and stuff like that. You're not actually like working for it. I think that comes from the sentiment of like red pill content, but not necessarily like what they're telling you to do. Like the sentiment is like for stoicism, the sentiment is control your emotions, right? But you hear that, but you're not hearing the whole, you will be emotional. You just have to make sure that you react a certain way that isn't controlled by your emotions. So like the sentiment of like Red Pill content is look better, feel better, be more effective, be more efficient, but you're doing things that are like skipping steps because you want those things fast, and you're still going with the whole instant gratification of the moment, but you're not necessarily learning the lessons through those things because you're trying to skip and do Dogecoin, or you're trying to skip and do like surgeries, and you're trying to skip and do breaking your leg, you're trying to skip into paying for it, paying for sexual gratification and stuff like that. You're not really going through the work because you don't have the meaning from religion, or you don't have the meaning from like legacy, or you don't care about being here for you care about being here for a good time, but not necessarily a long time. And that's what I think religion gives you, is understanding that, obviously you will go through suffering, but God meaning is still here. He still has your back. Jesus Christ, or rather your God will still have your back. So I think that's often what's lost in it when it comes to religion. Do you have anything on that?
Oh, I want to say is, guys, we tell God we want to be exceptional people, and he's not going to snap his fingers to make you exceptional. He's going to give you opportunities, which is, like I said, where things get tough or you have to earn it, then you become exceptional. So that's how I view it. When life gets hard sometimes, I'm not viewing it as I did something wrong, I'm alone, he's not really there. I put it as, I told God I want to be this multimillionaire, exceptional guy in my life, far advanced than most people. All right, here's your test. And then the test will get more difficult as you advance, but to make you better. Because
I have people who are like, we'll talk about the conversation of faith, and they'll keep like doing the thing where they like, oh, I didn't find meaning through it. But I'm like, okay, but the issue isn't that your thing is like, well, why do we suffer? You'll ask the question like, why do we suffer? Why do we go through this? Why do we go through that? But I think there's a beauty through challenge and failure and loss, because otherwise nothing will mean anything, because you won't ever have you always have things right in front of you,
and you don't value it.
Because what's the value in everything if there's no supply and demand? Like if you're always demanding something, you always have to supply. What's the point?
Tell them again, bro. Tell them again.
So like sometimes you gonna be sitting in a room a little cold because the AC broke and you don't have enough money for it. Sometimes you're gonna be sitting in the house and you're not gonna know what to eat because things are too expensive. Sometimes you're out on Christmas and you forgot to buy food beforehand, and you're sitting there looking stupid because you didn't buy food beforehand because everything's closed. And sometimes you're gonna have a job where you're out at 10 o'clock at night and the only thing that's open is Wendy's, Crystals, and McDonald's, right?
No, I wish McDonald's was open.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I wish.
But that it is what it is.
Yeah, guys.
Sometimes you won't even know what to do with your life because the things that you were trying to do, you're not interested in anymore, and that's just something you got to figure out. But I think God ultimately adds meaning to life, and everyone has a place in their world that they need to be in. And sometimes, things aren't as black and white as you may make them out to be. And I think that's the issue, is that people make everything out to be black and white. And a lot of issues are black and white. Don't get me wrong. A lot. But most of them can be seen as, it just might be your opinion on how you handle situations, that you need to react to them in certain ways. And I think the Bible can help you figure things out, because although I look at philosophy, a lot of those teachings are also in the Bible too. It's just that they find meaning through God while going through struggle, while going through things that they question. You got the book of Job, you got the book of David. Why do people look at these stories as such affluent, or rather valuable stories in life? Is because they teach you things that can get you through situations where you may not feel the best. and you may not have the best, and you may not know what to do with the best, or you may be at the best and you may lose it at your top point. So these are things through the Bible that I feel like, or through religion, that I feel like can truly help you be who you want to be. What's your next topic, Kevin?
Oh, this is for the homies, bro. When you learn game from the red pill, stop telling women about the game, bro. Stop telling them the game, bro. It's not meant for them to know. The whole point, the best way I can sum it up for you is, the red pill is teaching you how to fix your car so you can make money. Stop telling the customers how to do it, and you don't make no money. Because in your mind, well, this is just 2 bolts, but it took you to learn that. Basically, they're paying for what you know, not for what you do. So when you explain it to them, you're like, why am I doing this? So I hate when they explain like the game. I'm like, stop. They're not supposed to know. You just do it, bro. Just do it. Stop telling them. And it ruins it, because it's as terrible as it sounds, one side has to be lower than the other when you explain stuff. Like, if you're explaining girls how to get guys, well, you got to leverage them higher. Then vice versa. It's like both sides. So it's like, bro, stop explaining. Stop. It's not for them to know.
So I think there's 2 sides to that story. Well, I'm assuming when you say explaining the game, you're talking about when it comes to like getting girls,
because,
or are you talking about like, because I want to separate the two. I want to make sure like
I mean in the aspect of, for example, let's say the red pill tells you pay for all the dates, because if you don't pay for them, you lose leverage. Okay, I understand that. Oh, we're on the first date. Oh, I'm only paying because I don't want to lose leverage. They're gonna like, what are you talking about? Shut up. Don't say nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with less is more in a lot of situations. Care less, achieve more. You shouldn't explain. You shouldn't over explain yourself. I think girls often do that too. Like, you don't have to over explain. You don't have to say like, hey, I'm gonna cook this meal. Just do it. Hey, I'm gonna clean. Just do it. Hey, I'm going to pay. Just do it. Hey, I'm going to get this. Just do it. Even in business, they tell you not to explain every single business plan you're doing. If you're trying to get a house, why would you explain to people you're trying to get a house? They might like the house and try to take it from you.
Or even better, like you said, I'm only cooking for this so you can pay my rent. What? Why would you tell him that? Why would you tell him that?
You don't have to. And I don't even think it's necessarily just a men's. Like, you don't have to, even as a woman, you don't necessarily have to explain every single thing. Just do it. Like, I think a lot of things, a lot of arguments and a lot of problems can be salvaged by just not over explaining yourself in every situation. And I think when it comes to like masculine frame, even they tell you like, you don't just talk out your ass. Like, you wait a sec. Like, even one of the most basic body languages when it comes to like masculinity is to like wait a second and then say something after that, because your words may have more intention. And even you see this by the top researchers, right? For instance, when it comes to like AI, what is one of the first things they came up with AI? Is like deep thinking, right? You wait a second. It takes a couple seconds to think about what it's about to say to get a more accurate answer. So I think when it comes to like being a smarter individual or being a more intentional person, you should wait a second after someone speaks to sort of think of your answer better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like when it comes to like doing something, just do it. Don't over explain it, because if you say something, you may get rid of the mysteriousness of why you did that thing. Like, hey, baby, I'm about to go get you a gift from the store. Just go get the gift.
Bro, that's like me working my whole life. I bought a Ferrari, and I tell the girl, I only bought this to get girls. She gonna look at you, a fucking weirdo. You look like a weirdo. Why are you saying that?
And there might be multiple answers to the same question, right? Like you might not just have one answer. Why is your whole meaning to get a car for a girl? I don't know. Like I think that's one thing I wouldn't say is like I wouldn't say girls. You would say like well, validation at that point. You know, your homeboys might dap you up for it. Like, yeah, man, you got a new car. You might get a couple girls that come up to your car and take pictures on it, and you're like, get the fuck out of my car, you know. But you ever see those videos where the dude's like, you seen that one? There's a very popular one that just came out like maybe a couple weeks ago, where the girl is sitting on his car. He walks up and he's like, hey, can I take a picture too? And they're like, no. He's like, get the fuck off my car.
I've seen like one or two of his videos. Yeah, I've seen them pop up.
Like that's the type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you guys over explaining yourself? You don't have to do that. You know, not everybody needs to know your plans, not everybody needs to know your guide, not everybody needs to know everything about you, because in a sense, if you're always knowing everything about somebody, what is there to explain? You know everything, you know. That can kill your dating life, that can kill your business life, that can kill your money, that can kill your resources, that can kill your assets. You know, you're explaining to everybody everything. You can lose a lot of value in situations by over explaining and not being more intentional with the things that you're saying.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, shut up. Just shut up, bro. Stop talking. You're making it worse. That's the funny part. I'm like, bro. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just like, please stop.
And the issue is a lot of people are selfish, right? So that also adds to it. Like, if you're explaining things, you got to realize that people, what is one of the biggest statements? People have plans for your money. People have plans, you know, like they're like the second you say something, they have created a whole ideal in their mind based on what you just said. Hey, you know, I'm trying to get a house. So this guy got a lot more money than I thought he did. Oh, this guy's trying to get this guy's trying to get a house, and he's saying he's trying to save up this amount of money, this amount of things. You know, you can say like a general goal, obviously, but if you're over explaining like, oh yeah, I make $4K a month. This is exactly what I make. This is exactly what I'm spending. This is exactly what I'm that. Not everybody's able to hold those things and be a genuine person. So realize that not everybody's genuine. A lot of people are selfish. A lot of people are going to disagree with you, and a lot of people are going to even push you back from where you started. Realize that. A lot of people are going to push you back from where you started. People do not care about you as much as you might think. Even your closest friends, closest family, closest relationships, closest business relationships or whatever can drop at the end because these people do not care about you. Situations are always not going to be leveraged in your favor, and people will use you, people will abuse you, people will set you up for failure, and people will watch you fall at the highest place and want to see it.
Amen. You're either hating or you're motivated. Most of them are hating, bro. I'm just being real. Most of them hating.
But why do you think that's a contention with the red pill per se? Like, what would you say? Like, who? Not saying who's saying this, but like, where you see these sentiments at?
Because I'll watch people who aren't in the space, and then they'll usually go in the perspective of, they said that they need to do this to, like, well, it's usually the guys talking to women. They said there's usually people outside of the space saying they told guys to do this to us guys, and then they'll go into this whole terrible thing. I'm like, no, yes, no, but they'll make it like in some demonic thing. And I'm
would
like,
you say it's contention with the red pill though? I feel like are you just contented? Is your contention with the nuance? So would you say that the issue is that red pillers are using clips, or would you say the issue is that because they're using clips, because people are watching clips and not watching law enforcement content, that's their...
A little bit of both. Because I've literally seen where someone will just clip 30 seconds and then say a whole lie. Like, for example, I've seen this one show where they're like, they only bring dumb women on there, but I'm like, no, they brought a lawyer. I've seen a doctor. I've seen nurses going.
So I would say my disagreement with that is, and I was watching a video on this, and it was like a big thing. So what the issue is misinformation, and not because it's the person, it's necessarily the YouTuber, the TikToker, the Twitch person, or whatever doing the content. It's that if they aren't paying the people, they can put out whatever content they want, and that is under the table. And I was watching, and it was a very informational video on it. But they were saying like this: and I think I was watching a video where you're using Neon as an example. They were saying because Neon pays his people, they're not showing misinformation about him. But if you're just allowing people to do whatever they want with the clips that they're doing, realize that if you do not pay them, they have the leverage to put as much misinformation out there as possible. I was watching a clip where, for instance, Neon and Aiden Ross were boxing Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and they obviously got, they obviously were joking around or whatever because they know they're not going to beat those two. But yeah. The dude had said that Logan Paul is fighting this guy locked in boxing, but they clipped out the part literally right before that, and the joke was that literally Neon was saying that as a joke because he knew that people can clip anything out of context, and he was joking about that. And and the funny part was he said like this is locked in, but literally right before that Logan Paul said that he can't box people because he's a wrestler, and that can kind of get in the way of his wrestling career. And then the clip, and then I guess the clipper was probably Neon's clipper or whatever. But the joke was that he just said that straight up without any context at all. And this is the issue with clipping: is if you do not pay your clippers, they can clip whatever things out of context they want to under the table because there's millions of clippers. You're not going to go through each clipper and be like, "Hey, this guy just said this misinformation about me. I'm suing you for liability." You can do it to one or two people, but you cannot put a broad brush on a bunch of people. You can only just accept what they put out and hope that people are watching a long form content, or the people you do pay to do the clips that you want properly. Because Kai Cenat, Speed, Aiden Ross, or whatever sort of like big Twitch streamers or whatever you're watching on live, they are under the leverage that the people that are clipping them are clipping them right, quote unquote. Whatever. And if they even care about it looking right, because some people just don't give a fuck. To be honest, like depending on who you're looking at, Aiden Ross or Neon might not care about clipping out of context the same way that Kai Cenat and Speed are, because Kai Cenat and Speed are building your brand off of like more entertainment space, where it comes to looking more what's it called, what do they call it, looking more family friendly,
advertiser friendly.
Yeah, advertiser friendly. And Aiden Ross and Neon aren't, they're in more of the space of like just showing raw content. So they don't care about clipping out of context. Like they're in the, Aiden Ross and Neon are probably more in the they're more in the all publicity is good publicity, and Kai Cenat and Speed are more in like the, I'm trying to make sure these things are family friendly because I'm trying to keep advertisers, because they're just keeping strictly the entertainment. They're not talking about politics. They're not talking about like they're not talking about red pill, and they're not talking about like they're not talking about manosphere content. They're not talking about women. They're not talking about life advice. They're not sitting here telling you how to get a house. They're just entertaining you. They're they're entertainers. They're not sitting here trying to be the top logical content guys. They're just doing the thing. So I think the clipping space is quite different than it used to be because there's no regulations on it. It's just you can clip out whatever you want.
Y'all should clip like our videos.
Yeah,
clip our videos, guys.
Hey man, please don't take it out of context.
Oh, please take it out of context.
Give me views, but
Give me views. All right, Mr. Rosette, what is your third contention?
The way that people are so definitive in the way that they speak, because obviously people for instance look at you can look at statistics all day, right? And I'll say it like this, and I think a lot of it is right, and that's the thing, is a lot of it is right, and I'm not even going to say like, oh, they get a lot of it wrong, But I'm saying, like, when it comes to spaces that are more emotional, or spaces that are more deal oriented, or like not necessarily about like one-to-one strategic, logical, tactical thinking, you're still not going to get a girlfriend. You're still not going to get your ass up. You're still going to sit in your room playing video games, because this kind of content, this kind of space, these kinds of things, like, they will tell you to get up, but if you don't get up, there's nothing for you. So like like I was saying before, you will suffer, but you will suffer. That's it. There's nothing telling you get up. If you're not the person that goes to the gym, you're not gonna all of a sudden become the person that comes to the gym. If you're not a person who knows how to talk to girls, you're not all of a sudden gonna start learning how to talk to girls by listening to the Red Pill. If you're not the person that goes to get money, you're not all of a sudden gonna learn how to get a bank account, because in a sense they're assuming that you learn that you're going to get up and do these things. But if you're not the person to get up and do things spontaneously, you're probably not gonna go do these things now. Like, you know, some of the biggest content creators will tell you, like, you're going to learn a lot, and you probably will learn a lot from watching these people. Like, it's not that you won't, it's just that if you're looking at it from a place like of motivation, and motivation is nice, it's the fire, but you won't have any smoke at the end of it. You won't have any, like, the air will be polluted if you breathe too much in, and then that's a lot of the biggest issue, is like the air will be polluted if you bring too much in. There's heat in the fire, but the air will be polluted. So realize that if you're going into it, take things one step at a time. You got to realize the systems that were created from these things. You can work out hard, but don't be the guy that deadlifts too much and breaks his back. You can try and get women, but do not be the guy who lets people abuse you and use you for money. You can get value from business, but realize if you have never been in a business room before, these people can abuse you and use you as a way to get these broken deals. Like we saw a lot of the earlier deals with a lot of these gaming companies, or like when you see a lot of these deals when it comes to like creators, and you will get abused by deals or it's sitting in a room with somebody, because these contracts are, if you've never been in a room with somebody, you don't have a lawyer, and if you don't have like somewhat of like a knowledge of the space of business, you can be abused in situations and you don't know how to walk out. So, you know, when it comes to money, you won't know how to walk out. When it comes to like the gym, you don't know how to slow down. When it comes to women, you don't know how to slow down or walk out, because you don't have confidence in yourself yet. Because just because you hear it online, just because you hear it from your parents, just because you hear it from your best friends or whatever, if you've never done it before, once you get in the room, it's all you. So like, you can listen to these things all day. Once you get in front of a girl and you've never done it before, you won't know how to talk to women. Once you get in the business room and you've never done it before, you can listen to content all day, but you still won't know how to have these conversations, because you have not built your own cadence yet. You don't have your own character development. You haven't failed yet. You don't know how these things feel like when you fail. You don't know how these things feel like when you're in the moment. You don't know how these things are going to go in the future, because you just see the people there, but you don't necessarily see the journey that they got to be there. You just hear what they tell you about it. And they can tell you things all day, but if you don't get your ass up, it's kind of going to be hard for you out in these streets.
Essentially, guys, there is no magical tip, magical spell. You just have to do it over and over to get better.
And that's not... And that's a credence with the Red Pill, but that's not, and you know, I see a lot of the issue being like, okay, let's start the conversation of trying to get girls, and you know, they'll tell you like, you know, a lot of them will tell you the facts, like, all right, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, most men haven't gotten a girl, 1 in 3 men haven't had sex or whatever in the last year, you know, they'll tell you the facts like that, and the issue is, you can sit here and listen to this and be like, oh man, I'm having a hard time getting you're still not gonna get a girlfriend thinking like that. So
go outside and say hi to somebody.
like you're still not gonna get a girlfriend. Like you can listen to these things all day. You can sit in your room and chronically be online all day and watch every single video about housing, about women, about business, about relationships, about life advice. But if you do not go out and actually do it, which they cannot tell you to do, you will not get anywhere. So that is my biggest credence with it, is like they tell you the facts of the situation, but the facts might not necessarily be in your favor, and you still don't realize that you have to get up. So like sometimes they tell you do this amount of thing and you'll be the best, but you don't realize that they're not necessarily saying that everyone can be in the best in the room, but they're saying that if you do these things, you can learn a lot. Just, like I said, 80 to 100K a year, or
hundreds a lot.
You go from never talking to your partner for the rest of your life to talking to at least one.
Yeah, guys.
Or you go from never having gotten a bigger job to getting the job in the field that you tried to go to college for. Or if you haven't gone to college, get that job to the career that you're trying to be in, the space that you're trying to be in. So, the credence is you can listen to the facts of the situation all day, but it still won't get you. You still won't get you where you're trying to be if the facts are dissenting towards chance. If you don't take a risk. The whole idea is that the meaning is, I want a legacy, but the things are against me. Well, yeah, that's life. Obviously, that's life.
That, and also when guys say things like he said, like girls or houses, or I want a multi-million-dollar business, and then you ask them the questions. All right, you want a girl? Okay, how's your fitness? Oh, I'm fat. All right, number one, you got your priorities wrong. Number two, I want a house. Okay, what job do you got? How much you make? $20K a year. All right, you already got your priorities wrong.
One step at a time, though.
That's the thing, is like
one step at a time, because you're not going to go from going to the gym never to being the top athlete. You're not going to go from never talking in a business room to being in the field that you're trying to be in. You're not going to jump from A to Z. These things take small incremental steps that will change the habits, that create systems, that create discipline. So, the why, the why is the motivation. You have to change yourself. You have to build a meaning behind what you're doing, and you have to create systems to make these things more efficient for you later on. So like eventually you build your own character when it comes to talking to the person that you're spend the rest of your life with. Or if you're just trying to talk to women, I don't know, some people just trying to do their thing, move on. But you can create these systems for yourself. Like when it comes to business, you're not going to go from like A to Z. So you're obviously going to have to learn about the field that you're trying to be in. Maybe go to college for the field you're trying to be in if it requires college. Maybe, be on YouTube and try and YouTube it up. Read a book. Read articles. Read, shit, if you got to read Wikipedia, shit, sometimes it be like that. But
that's what I'm saying. It's like you got your priorities wrong, big dog.
Priorities wrong.
It's just really wrong. I was like, bro, ain't no way.
And it might be a difference of opinion, but I ain't trying to be homeless. I ain't trying to be lonely for the rest of my life. I ain't trying to be hungry for the rest of my life. I ain't trying to be the guy that people remember 2 months after he dies and nobody talks about him again because I don't have any kids.
Man,
like, they're not everything that everyone says is all the way right, but they're not all the way wrong either. There's a lot of sentiments that you can agree with. Now, how you get there is up to you, because you have to find your own path, and it may come with a lot of failure, but you gotta do something, brother. Ain't gonna find a lot of these things just sitting around and sitting on your ass. Like, We didn't start with all this stuff in the podcast room. I'll tell you that right now. This table was not here. That TV wasn't there. These things weren't here. The lights weren't there. The main lights she aren't here. These bugs weren't there. Them had one there. Even the little stuff like the camera, like like the thing you're very watching on, the vision that you have.
It was really cold in here.
It was very foggy at first for us when it comes to the way we think about the episodes that we're trying to create. So realize that these things take,
I don't know where we were going
small
home.
incremental steps.
I don't know where we were going home. That's what makes it worse that first time.
And be ready for the beauty of that. There's a beauty to the fact that these things take small incremental steps, because that means you can create small little change. You can adapt to situations. The issue with growth and persistence is, in order to grow, you have to change things, but realize that you have to be also persistent. So the connection between persistence and change is adaptability. You have to realize that there's going to be a lot of situations you're going to have to adapt to the oncoming situations, the idea of change.
It's inevitable, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching another TOG video.
Yeah, guys, make sure you replay the video 37 times and you tell your dad about it. You tell your cousin Tracy about it. And make sure you tell your ex-girlfriend about it.
Wait, well, I want to tell my ex-girlfriend.
Hey, man, she ain't got nothing better to do. I'm just being honest.
Of course she doesn't, because TOG is the best thing on the planet.
Yeah, guys.
Well, we'll see you guys next time. See ya, saw ya, sayonara.
I'm doing the hand thing. You can't see it right now, but I'm kind of doing the hand thing.